eyes are brown as autumn evening. Her hair is dark as it can be. She covered me just like a willow and spread her charms over me. Her thoughts were cast along the airwaves while mine were floating out there too. They seemed to touch and intertangle and begin a love that's rare and new. She's a kind and gentle woman, and now she's graced my door. She always makes me smile, and she has a natural style, and it's like I've known her before. I play music for her sometimes. She likes to listen to my sound like a bright and shining ember. She's a jewel that I have found. She's a kind and gentle woman, and now she's graced my door. She always makes me smile. She has a natural style, and it's like I've known her before. Her eyes are brown as autumn evening. Her hair is dark as it can be. She covered me just like a willow and spread her charms over me. She covered me just like a willow and spread her charms over me. And I once had a girl, or should I say, she once had me. She showed me a room, isn't it good, Norwegian wood. She asked me to stay, and she told me to sit anywhere. And I looked around, and I noticed there wasn't a chair. Round and round, oh, 2 o'clock, round and round, I say. Round and round, oh, 2 o'clock, I'm going back someday. Oh, round and round, oh, 2 o'clock, round and round, I say. Round and round, oh, 2 o'clock, I'm going back. I'm going back. Excuse me a second while I tune the kazoo. This hot weather plays havoc with these things. Price is higher than I've ever seen. Oh, I'm just a caffeine fiend. Oats pushed in stores and on TV. Raise the price of tobacco, but let my coffee be. I drink it in the night, in the day and in the morning. Been drinking that black stuff ever since I was born. I'm a caffeine fiend. I'm a caffeine fiend. Oh, I'm just a caffeine fiend. I'm a caffeine fiend, if you know what I mean. I give all I own for Mr. Coffee Machine. I drink it in the morning, in the night and in the day. I'd marry Mrs. Olson if I could have my way. I'm a caffeine fiend, I'm a caffeine fiend. Oh, I'm just a caffeine fiend. For president, I'll speak my voice. Juan Valdez, he would be my choice. Thick, rich coffee, oh, I drink it a lot. Just don't ruin it, don't clean the pot. I'm a caffeine fiend, I'm a caffeine fiend. Oh, I'm just a caffeine fiend. I appreciate each and every one of you coming down and volunteering and helping our people. Give yourselves a good hand, please. These are times you'll remember for all of your life, for one reason or another, but you'll remember it. Are you ready to sing along? How about a happy flood song? You ready for a happy flood song? Oh, the day the water went down, the water went down, the water went down. Oh, the day the water went down, we all danced in the mud. Let's try it again. Oh, the day the water went down, the water went down, the water went down. Oh, the day the water went down, we all danced in the mud. Oh, the water receded and the people gathered round, and the mountains let off with the sweetest sound. Counted our losses where the water took its toll. We began to clog to the floodlights stole. Oh, the day the water went down, the water went down, water went down. Oh, the day the water went down, we all danced in the mud. There was people dirty, never dirty in their lives. Eat with common people, use the same forks and knives. Hearts flowed together, went into the street, and we danced and danced and we stomped our feet. Oh, the day the water went down, the water went down, the water went down. Oh, the day the water went down, we all danced in the mud. Oh, this place looked like it was in a world's war. Missing was the bombs and the muddy gore. People walking, watching houses take a dive. We began to smile knowing that we were alive. Oh, the day the water went down, the water went down, the water went down. Oh, the day the water went down, we all danced in the mud. Flood muds consisted of garbage, dirt, and coal dust. Now it's spread all through our land. How it got into our streams and rivers, you'll just have to ask me. Oh, the day the water went down, the water went down, the water went down. Oh, the day the water went down, we all danced in the mud. Oh, we slopped and slipped and played in the mud, and we sent our prayers to a man named Hud. Everybody was muddy, every lad and every lass. Everywhere you looked, there was mud everywhere. Oh, the day the water went down, the water went down, the water went down. Oh, the day the water went down, we all danced in the mud. 10 more. Oh, the day the water went down, the water went down, the water went down. Oh, the day the water went down, we all danced in the mud. Oh, the day the water went down, the water went down, the water went down. Oh, the day the water went down, the water went down, the water went down. Oh, the day the water went down, we all danced in the mud. One more. Oh, the day the water went down. Down, the water went down. Oh, the day the water went down, we all danced in the mud. Thank you, that was lovely. The song was written by Guy Clark. He's a singer-songwriter out of Texas. There ain't nothing in the world that I like better than bacon and lettuce and homegrown tomatoes. Up in the morning, out in the garden, pick you a ripe one. Don't get a hard one, plant them in the spring, eat them in the summer. Winter without them, it's a culinary bummer. I can put up with all the sweating and digging every time I go out and pick me a big one. Homegrown tomatoes, homegrown tomatoes. What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes. You can go out and eat, and that's for sure. There's nothing a homegrown tomato won't cure. Put them in a salad, put them in a stew, you can make your own tomato juice. Eat them with eggs, eat them with gravy, eat them with beans, pinto or daily. Put them on the side or put them in the middle. Put an old green tomato on a hot cake griddle. Homegrown tomatoes, homegrown tomatoes. What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes. Now if I could change this life I lead, I'd be Johnny Tomato Seed. I know what this country needs is a homegrown tomato in every yard you see. When I die, don't you bury me in a box in a cemetery, 'cause out in the garden I'd be much better. I'd be pushing up homegrown tomatoes, homegrown tomatoes, homegrown tomatoes. What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes. I rode up from West Virginia. I was looking for fortune and fame, but the only thing that I found was trouble. Oh, everyone there was the same. They say you're nothing but a mountaineer, and we don't care for your kind. They only looked at my appearance, they never looked into my mind. Is it because you're from the north? Is it because you're city made? Is it because you don't like me? Or is it the impressions that the ones before me made? And I found me a job in a hurry. I was making $5 an hour, but the things I had to put up with at the factory, and it made all my money turn sour. And I decided to come back to West Virginia, and now I'm glad that I did. And I found out just how I miss my old home where I lived when I was a kid. Is it because you're from the north? Is it because you're city made? Is it because you don't like me? Or is it the impressions that the ones before me made? I rode up from West Virginia. This is a serious song, so I'd like all your attention. Now when I was a little boy, my tennis shoes I would wear. I'd pick black stuff out between my toes and wipe it in my sister's hair. In the winter time my nose would run, it would run down my chin. And I'd wipe it off on the sleeve of my shirt and look like where a snail had been. You can sing along, here's the chorus. Toe jam between my toes and boogers in my nose. I've been a picker about as long as I've been able to. Let's pick a little. We sit around the campfire and go through a lot of trouble. Just see which one of us could blow the biggest snot bubble. And I'd wear the same old tennis shoes until my feet were black. And I really enjoyed to take them off and pick jam out between the cracks. Toe jam between my toes and boogers in my nose. I've been a picker about as long as I've been able to. Oh, wild thing, you make my heart sing. You make everything groovy. Wild thing, you move me. I wanna know for sure. You're the lady, oh. I have me a girlfriend and I love her and it shows. And the things we enjoy the most is picking each other's nose. Well, I'm not a little boy anymore and I'm a guitar picker now. And I still remember how I got my start, and again I'll tell you how. Now toe jam between my toes, and boogers in my nostrils. Now I've been a picker about as long as I've been able to. Thank you. The song's called Love Isn't Love Till You Give It Away. I'd written it actually for the Appalachian Service Project, which is a summer repair group, but I've been doing it for the Habitat for 10 years now. This is my 10th anniversary of playing for the Habitat group. And this is part of the celebration why I decided to do a live recording, which you're a part of, and I really thank you for being a vital part of it. An Appalachian woman pondered at her house. The paint was chipped and the roof started to leak. Her kids had grown and left town. There's no one to help her out. And her husband passed away 10 years ago. Pickup was being loaded on the northern side of town with lumber to help those in need. Hammer nails, saws and wood, and tools of the trade. They are volunteers, lending a helping hand. People helping people, it cannot be denied. Building bridges to reach the other side. Two different lifestyles beginning to interplay. Love isn't love until you give it away. The truck pulled up the old dirt road to help the lady out. Her tired face began to smile. It released a silent shout. The volunteers were on the roof, and the woman baked the pie, and the work was finally over on a hot day in July. And her eyes lit up and full of tears when the deed was done. The old place, it looked so warm again. She wanted to offer something, but her thanks was all it took. And they all sang together in harmony. People helping people, it cannot be denied. Building bridges to reach the other side. Two different lifestyles beginning to interplay. Love isn't love until you give it away. Love isn't love until you give it away. It's an old song, another one that's passed around these mountains, and a lot of the lyrics are in other songs, and that reason's because these old songs were passed from mouth to mouth instead of records like we have now, or cassettes or 8-tracks or whatever. But as they're passed along, people forget the lyrics, so they kind of make up their own or put something else in there that they've heard. And like a lot of these old songs, they sound good, but you wonder, what do they mean? I got a pig at home in the pen, corn to feed him on. All I need's a pretty little girl to feed him when I'm gone. Bake those biscuits, bake them big and brown. When you get those biscuits baked, I'm old Kentucky bound. I got a pig at home in the pen, corn to feed him on. All I need's a pretty little girl to feed him when I'm gone. I went up on the mountain, so a little cane. Put your old gray bonnet on, sweet little Liza Jane. I got a pig at home and pen, corn to feed him on. All I need's a pretty little girl to feed him when I'm gone. I went to see that gal of mine, how do you think I'd know? I tell her about that gingham gown hanging down so low. I got a pig at home in the pen, corn to feed him on. All I need's a pretty little girl to feed him when I'm gone. I got a pig at home in the pen, corn to feed him on. All I need's a pretty little girl to feed him when I'm gone. All I need's a pretty little girl, all I need's a pretty little girl, all I need's a pretty little girl to feed him when I'm gone. It's called the Red Robin Inn. Well, I like to hear old Charlie sing and hammer out the old 5-string. A place to lose your troubles for just a little while. Down in southern West Virginia, across the road from Tug River. Soon it's gonna bow out to a 4-lane road. A place to get drunked up at, or just listen to Charlie's stories. See if he had anything new hanging on his wall. He has instruments from days gone by, license plates to put on your car, and a place if you're lonesome or just looking for a friend. He'd play the banjo, someone else would play the guitar, or anyone who felt like getting caught up in a song. and everyone would listen hard, and everyone would sing along with Charlie at the Red Robin Inn. Mingo County historian, he knows what happened long ago. He can tell you tales, make the hair stand up on your head. Keeps his jukebox full of his favorite tunes. Old Rattler, no Mountain Dew, go to Charlie's and have a few at the Red Robin Inn. Now he'd play the banjo, someone else would pick the guitar, or anyone who felt like getting caught up in a song. And everyone would listen hard, and everyone would sing along with Charlie at the Red Robin Inn. Hardly ever any trouble there. Charlie, he'd take care of that, standing with his big arms crossed, gaining everyone's respect. He had a Sherlock pipe hanging from his jaw. He represented his own law, and sure gonna miss him at the Red Robin Inn. Now he'd play the banjo, someone else would play the guitar, or anyone who felt like getting caught up in a song. Everyone would listen hard, and everyone would sing along with Charlie at the Red Robin Inn. When the red, red robin goes bobbing along, it'll be gone. That old road's gonna take it, but his memories will still linger on. Almost heaven. This area is famous for a couple of things: the Hatfield-McCoy feud and the Matewan massacre. Hatfield-McCoy feud was a battle between two families, and it ended in bloodshed. And the massacre was a battle between coal miners and the company owners, and that ended in bloodshed also. And they were fighting because of the unions. The miners wanted the unions in because it would improve their working conditions and improve their wages and several other things. And the miners didn't, the company didn't want that. They had a strong hand on the miners. They were able to pay them with their own currency, which is called scrip. It's just a piece of metal with the coal company's name stamped on it. They would pay them with that. It was only redeemable at the company store, which the company owned and controlled the prices. So the company had it pretty good for a while. And Sid Hatfield was a miner beginning with, and then he was the sheriff from Matewan, and he worked with the union to try to get them in. And if the company heard of any men talking about the union, they would fire them and throw them out of the housing which they provided, called camp houses. And it happened in 1920. They evicted some families and put them out. They lived in tents. And it all come to a head in the town of Matewan, where they had a gun battle. And Sid was one of the main characters. Some say he fired the first shot, and some say he didn't. The mayor was one of the first people that got killed of the town of Matewan, and some say that Sid shot him, which I don't know where they got that from, other than 2 weeks later Sid married his wife. This song's about Sid's early life. Light brown hair and high cheekbones, dimple on his chin. Stood up for the working man, he was their best friend. Raised up with the new coal mines, dug from the same vein. 5'6", 150 pounds, Sid Hatfield was his name. He was born down Blackberry Creek in 1893. The banks low Tug River, he'd run wild and free. His dad's name was Crabtree, left when Sid was young. Life wasn't easy being an illegitimate son. Sid had a mean streak from growing up with a few. He had no luxuries, life was hard and crude. Taught to live the mountain ways from the Hatfield clan. Hunting, fish, planting, farm turned Sid into a man. Light brown hair and high cheekbones, dimple on his chin. Stood up for the working man, he was their best friend. Raised up with the new coal mines, dug from the same vein. 5'6", 150 pounds, Sid Hatfield was his name. He worked deep in the mines when he was old enough. Crawled through narrow shafts, days were long and rough. He spent his weekends carousing, make one town. The old Blue Goose Saloon is where he could be found. Then the West Virginia Unions started to show their might. The Tug Valley miners prepared for a fight. The folks around Mate 1 knew Sid was born to lead. Named Chief of Police, determined to succeed. Light brown hair and high cheekbones, dimple on his chin. Stood up for the working man, he was their best friend. Raised up with the new coal mines, dug from the same vein. 5'6", 150 pounds, Sid Hatfield was his name. 5'6", 150 pounds, Sid Hatfield was his name. Thank you. Do a song about a banjo. This one's called a slick neck banjo. Slick neck banjo is a banjo without frets. And an old timer that I interviewed doing field recordings said, "Oh yeah, I got me one of them old slick neck banjos." And that's a good one. And I used a lot of the lines out of the interviews to put this song together. It's about a little old banjo player. He played a slick neck banjo with a possum hide, made of wood from an old walnut tree. With a two-finger style, he would frill it with pride. He'd say, "If you can follow me," he'd say, "If you can follow me." Born up in the mountains when he was no years old. Walked to school uphill both ways in the cold and snow. He had no shoes or so he would tell everyone. Just his little snakish way of making his life fun. He was a smart old man, couldn't tell at first glance. Tobacco stain on his mouth, a bent and crooked stance. He'd talk about the future and relive the past. He said, take your time, don't hurry, don't live your life too fast. He played a slick-neck banjo with a possum hide made of wood from an old walnut tree. With a two-finger style, he would frown it with pride. He'd say, if you can follow me. He'd say, if you can follow me. Raised up in a holler where the roads wouldn't go. He never heard of TV, and he had no radio. Some folks say his head is behind. He seemed to care for nothing. He's got music on his mind. I'd visit him on Sundays, help him chop the wood, harvest beans and taters, do everything I could. And when the work was over, he'd say, listen to this, boy. He'd put me back in another time when he played Soldier's Joy. Played a slick-neck banjo with a possum hide made of wood from an old walnut tree. With a two-finger style, he would frown it with pride. He'd say, if you can follow me. He'd say, if you can follow me. This is about tomato gravy. Tomato gravy is a dish my mother made for us kids. Of course, it was diet food, as you can tell. That was back in the good old days when you were able to eat anything you wanted to. Bacon grease, Mom would cook everything with bacon grease, seemed like. It actually killed my uncle. He was 97. Give me an old-fashioned breakfast. Continental's not for me. I want food that sticks to your ribs for all the world to see. Give me big cat head biscuits to sock the gravy up, and 30 weight coffee in a saucer to sup. I love what Mom fed me, a sturdy 4-course meal. Now breakfast is the best food you can beg, borrow, or steal. Rich, firm, and chunky, bright red and wavy. And I wake up in the morning to Mom's tomato gravy. Mom's tomato gravy is a treat and a delicacy. I'm no longer anorexic, as you can plainly see. I ain't missed many a meal and I'm looking quite swell. And I eat tomato gravy, love that smell. You can have your bagels and croissants, flapjacks, that's my style. Sick of bran and fiber, makes me run a country mile. Pour the gravy over bacon, sausage or ham. Give me eggs full of cholesterol, but don't feed me Spam. Mom's tomato gravy is a treat and a delicacy. I'm no longer anorexic, as you can plainly see. I ain't missed many a meal and I'm looking quite swell. And I eat tomato gravy, love that smell. And I eat tomato gravy, can't you tell? This song's about old 97. I first heard this song in 1905, and I learned it and remembered it all these years. It's about the old 97. The old 97 was a mail train. He would carry the mail from Washington, D.C. to Atlanta, Georgia. He had a contract with the government, and in those days it was the only way of getting things quickly from one point to the other. And they were fined for every 30 minutes they were delayed, so they tried to keep the trains on time and on the tracks. And Steve Brody on this one particular morning was called to take the train, and they were running about an hour behind time, and they were depending on Steve to make up some of it. And this line's quite a few tunnels and a lot of rough road and steep tracks. Well, he got his orders at Monroe, Virginia, saying, Steve, you're way behind time. This is not 38, but it's old 97. Gotta make it in Spencer on time. He turned around and said to his fireman, said, shovel in a little more coal. By the time that we make old White Oak Mountain, you can watch that old 97 roll. It's a mighty rough road from Lynchburg to Danville and the line. There's a 3-mile grade. It was on that grade that he lost his air brakes, and you ought to seen the jumps that he made. He was going down the grade peak at 90 miles an hour when a whistle turned into a scream. He was found in the wreck with his hands on the throttle and was scalded to death by the steam. Now you railroad wives, now you take a warning. Here's a lesson that you can learn. Never speak harsh words to your sweet loving husband. He'll leave you and never return. Oh, he got his orders at Monroe, Virginia, saying, Steve, you're way behind time. This is not 38, but it's old 97. Gotta make it into Spencer on time. This is not 38, but it's old 97. Gotta make it into Spencer on time.